Right, so we carry on with our next speaker. So we move from icy Finland to sunny Greece. Our next speaker is Iraklis Pliakis. Unfortunately, he cannot be here with us today, so he's going to be talking from Greece on the screen for you. So his presentation will be online. Iraklis is an expert in qualifications and credentials at Cedefop, the European Centre for Development of Vocational Training, an organization that is celebrating its 50th anniversary. So let's join the celebrations, because if this was a talent show, remember second conditional, Iraklis would make you dance as he used to be a DJ. So... Iraklis, can you hear us? Can you try and speak to see if we can? Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. I was informed that, good morning from my side. I'm Iraklis Pliakis. I'm a Cedefop expert. I was informed that you were going to share my presentation. Shall I do it myself? Are you going to share the presentation?
Yes, we are. So just, if you can give us just a second, please. Yeah, it's ready there. There you go. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So I see that the presentation is on the screen. I don't have sound, but
we can hear you.
I see that on the chat that you are responding to me. So please indicate in the chat if I should start.
Yes, you can. You can start now.
Okay. Great. So just a couple of words before the actual beginning of the presentation of who we are at Cedefop, in case someone of you doesn't know what we are doing at Cedefop. We are one of the first decentralized EU agencies. We are based in Thessaloniki since 1995, but we were established in Berlin in 1975. So actually, this year is our 50th anniversary. It's an important period for us trying to promote our work across Europe. We are acting as a knowledge broker between the European and the national level, trying to share info and data that we collect, knowledge that we collect across Europe. Next slide, please. Yes, here you can see the three main strands of our work. Yeah, exactly. So one part of our work focuses on skills and the labor market. How we identify which skills are necessary, how we link the labor market with education and training system. Of course, at the same time, we focus a lot on, we operate as a VET knowledge center, developing knowledge about actions related to vocational education and training. And the third strand of our work focuses on qualifications and policy reporting on VET. And this is the strand that I will be focusing my presentation today. But first of all, in the next slide, yes, exactly, you can see that I have collected some, previous slide please, some policies at the EU level. The first, if you can move back a bit to the fourth slide, it's, as you may already know, very recently, there was Yeah, exactly. The competitive compass was published by the European Commission, focusing on promoting skills and quality jobs while ensuring social fairness, a horizontal enable of competitiveness. Then, some days ago, the previous week, the Union of Skills was announced by the Commission, which is a communication document that is highly related to vocational education, the work that we and you are doing. There are 4 main strands in this of work and of action to be taken according to the Union of Skills to build skills for quality jobs and lives through a strong educational foundation with an inclusive lifelong learning approach. And this is something that all of us, I'm sure, we are working on. The second strand is upskill and reskill. Then, of course, circulating skills, which is something highly related to VET mobility. And of course, the fourth strand of the work is attract, develop, and retain talent. And I can show you also some of the things that we are doing in this. Just to let you know that in the Union of Skills, it is mentioned that a European strategy for VET is awaited for 2026, while on 2027, a recommendation on human capital is planned by the Commission, focusing on education skills, competitiveness, and the rapidly evolving labor market. Of course, all this work is based on previous policy actions at European level, like the recommendation on European approach of micro-credentials. I will be discussing on micro-credentials in a while, the European education area, the skills agenda, the Council recommendation of VET, and the recent Osnabrück declaration. So, in a nutshell, these are some of the recent policies that are highly related to VET. But now let's focus on what Cedefop is doing. The first project that I would like to present to you is in the next slide, and it is called the timeline of VET policies in Europe. If you click, you will see that in this, this is an online tool, actually, where users users of our website have direct access to almost 1,000, a rich database of policies implemented across all EU member states, plus Norway and Iceland. You can see that you can navigate through all these policies based on the thematic categories that we have developed, and all these you can find them in the Cedefop website. For instance, the governance of VET and lifelong learning, supported lifelong learning culture, and increased participation. In the next slide, you will see that you can also navigate through all of these policies by country. So in this number, you can see how many policies have been reported to us, VET-related policies. Let me clarify to you that we are collecting and presenting this kind of policies since 2015. So everybody can be informed of relevant policies that is there are in relevant to their, her or his interest. Please, I have shared, keep in mind that I have shared my presentation in a PDF mode, so all these highlighted words include a link which will directly link you when you have the PDF at your hand to the relevant site or web page of our site. Of course, in the next slide, you can see that you can navigate by target group if you are interested in policies related to the younger generation, etc. And then you can see that in this timeline, you can find, in the next slide, please, you can find concrete info also on many things related to how these policies are implemented. You can see in a timeline when it is approved, how it is implemented, even when it is completed. In the right part of the slide, if you can click on it, you can see that you can find information on the background, objectives, a description of the policy, etc. Let's go on. Now, the next project that I'm going to talk to you about is the EQF process and how we are trying to build the European map of qualifications. In the next slide, you can see the actual map of Europe. In the dark blue color, we have the European countries that they have referenced their national qualification framework to the European qualification framework. Last year, Spain referenced their report to the European qualifications frameworks, and this was a crucial milestone for the EQF process because now all EU member countries have linked their frameworks to the European qualification framework. Why is this important? Because this provides transparent information of the qualifications that end users are holding. So actually, what we are aiming to do is give the possibility to authorities, vet providers, employers, but most importantly, end users to be aware of the different types of qualifications and the level of proficiency of each qualification. As you can see in the next slide, the EQF operates as a translation device between different types of qualification between countries. So, for instance, if an Austrian employer wants to hire someone from Ireland, but he doesn't know what kind of qualification he is holding, he can see that, or she can see that an NQF 8 qualification from Ireland through the EQF can be compared to qualifications at NQF level 6 of the Austrian. So because he knows the qualification, he knows that these Irish qualifications have learning outcomes at the same level as a bachelor degree in Austria. And of course, in this black box, you can see specific details of the learning outcomes that each qualification offers. In the next slide, what we can see is in which ways these NQFs have been progressed and why we are trying to build this map of qualification. Because now we are not only, in the next slide, NQFs do not only include qualifications provided by national, they also include qualification by multiple state, private, or international even providers. They do not only include qualifications from formal education and training, they also include qualifications awarded outside the formal system. They are not only full formal qualifications like bachelor's, but they can be also partial qualifications or micro credentials, micro qualifications. And of course, these kind of qualifications are not only awarded through programs, but also through validation procedures. And this is the essence of the map that I was talking to you before. Why is this crucial? Because let's say if we are talking about the Google Maps, we're not only using the highways to get to our direction, we need to know the smaller streets. So the same applies with qualifications. If we want to know learning pathways, we have to have a clear understanding of all the different types of qualifications that exist. Now, just to give you some brief information of these national qualification frameworks and what they include and how we are progressing, you can see that there are, if you click on the slide, please, there will be 13 countries right now that have at least one type of a level of qualifications that can be considered as a micro credential. Of course, in 2022, this data is not updated yet. It's based on the previous research that we did. 6 countries have already included international qualifications. There are 5 that are planning to do so. Now, right now, I can tell you that we have 6 countries including international qualifications, but there are 7 countries that they have already opened their frameworks to international qualifications. And now we can go to the next slide, please. Which is the progress that we have made in this strand of our work? Of course, there are two main target groups that we want to inform about this map of qualifications, the EQF process. NQF developers and implementers, those that are, for instance, developing qualifications, they are well aware, but also the system beneficiaries and end users. We are talking about learners, employers, VET providers. The awareness of NQF, EQF among end users has gradually increased, but often remains the lowest among the different target groups. Individuals most often use NQF levels to ease their international mobility and orientation within the education system. And lately, countries have started to use, in different countries, labor market stakeholders have started to use the EQF and the NQF. Of course, not extensively, but these are indications that we are progressing. Now, in the next slide, what you can see is the NQF online tool that is available on our website. If you click on it, you will be able to see. In the next slide, you can see the introductory page where you can navigate through the countries to see specific information on each NQF. Then you can see in the next slide the overview page where you can find specific information, brief information for each country. But most importantly, you will see in the red circles, if you click on the slide, that you can find links to the databases, to the qualifications databases and the websites of the frameworks. Why is this important? Because it gives us the possibility to zoom in and have a better understanding of the qualifications of each country. Then in the next slide, you can see that in a map view, you can get information from specific NQFs. Please move on to the next slide. Just click because it's animated, this slide. One more click, please. So here you can find specific information for each qualification as long as you select the specific country. And you can see that there are information from 2022, 2020, 2018. In the end of this year, additional information will be included on 2024. Now, if we move in the last slide, you will see that if you select two countries, for instance, Austria and Ireland, as I did before, you can get a comparison of the frameworks and of the qualifications that are included in each country. Please move on to the next slide. And you will see the same screen that I shared with you a couple of minutes ago. So you can compare qualifications from different countries through our online tool. If we move now to the next project, and this is the third project, the final project that I will present to you, it's our project that is focusing on micro-credentials for vocational education and the labor market learning, related learning. So in this project, just click on, because this is an animated slide also, to see everything. Yes, just move on. Cedefop started working on this territory in 2020, where the first project, our first survey was launched. We contributed significantly to the work of the European Commission in developing the Council recommendation on micro-credentials. We have seen that EU member states are increasingly embedding micro-credentials in their education and training systems. And now in 2025, we have launched the next part of our research. Briefly, some of the findings that we have regarding micro-credentials will be presented to you in the next slide, in the next slides. So back in 2020, there was a great uncertainty about the naming and function of micro-credentials. Respondents to our service didn't even know what a micro-credential is, so they couldn't really answer our questions. But what we found out is there is a diverse landscape across Europe that a lot of different types of, let's say, short learning experiences of short durations are offered to learners. Different names are used: micro qualifications, not micro credentials, micro qualifications, nano degrees, badges, you name it. So actually, what we found out is micro-credential is an umbrella term for many different terms used at national level. They are used in different ways by new hires in enterprises, by customers of companies. So actually, the target group of micro-credential is much broader than the target group of full formal qualifications. In the next slide, what you can see is that we have tried to somehow map micro credentials in the manufacturing and the retail sectors. So here you can see some specific characteristics of the micro credentials. The first characteristic, if you click on it, is that they offer highly targeted, specialized types of training that are designed around specific occupations. They also offer, they can focus on new and emerging topics and technology. Please click on the slide. Then if you click again on the slide, you can see that the duration of its micro-credential differs from, let's say, 22 hours to 400 hours. Then another interesting finding is that the delivery is different. It can be online, it can be in classroom, and it still happens a lot to be face-to-face. And also what we found out is that not all micro-credentials indicate the learning outcomes that they offer, which is something very crucial and useful. Please, if I have exceeded my time, please indicate that in the chat so I can speed up. In the next slide, you will see the links between micro-credentials and qualification systems. There is a wide variety of micro-credentials falling outside the formal system. The initial indicators show that the micro-credential will not diminish the labor market value of recognized qualifications, but they are tending to change the way we are approaching education and training, because they are flexible, they are adaptable to labor market needs, they are responsive, so they point to that direction because these needs exist. Because micro-credentials address the limitation of formal qualification systems to timely respond to labor market needs. Quite often, countries link micro-credentials to modularization. And of course, something that was pointed out to us from many of our participants in the studies is that we should be careful not micro-credentials to lead to fragmentation of knowledge. In the next slide, briefly, you can see what I have already said, that you can see partial qualifications in the frameworks, micro-credentials in national qualification framework, international qualification, different types. And if we move on to the next slide, just brief information on the use of micro-credentials by end users and the added value of micro-credentials to end users. You can see that it are not only useful for learners and employees that, let's say, can use them in order to enter the labor market or progress in their career. They are also relevant for employers because they can have a highly targeted training for their employees, but they can also select possible potential hires through micro-credentials, but also for vet providers. They are very, very useful for vet providers. I would like to focus a bit in the next slide on the issue of trust. We need to trust micro-credentials as, of course, any other type of learning. Employers have said that it's crucial to know that learning outcomes are properly assessed of a micro-credential in order to trust it. The other thing that they have shared with us, apart obviously from quality assurance, is that learners value a lot the metadata available of micro-credentials to be able to know what a micro-credential is about. Of course, also the credibility of the providers is essential. Employers often prefer either accredited providers, but also they choose them according to their reputation. So if they are well known and trusted, even if they are not accredited, it's fine with employers. And of course, what is crucial is the content of the micro-credential to be linked to the labor market needs. Quite often, learners say that if they know that a micro-credential is co-designed with labor market stakeholders, they would prefer it. In the next slide, I would like to focus on a very specific issue. You know that quite a lot of micro-credentials are offered in the market, But what we found, and it's crucial for us, is that simply by offering more micro-credentials doesn't necessarily mean that we'll have more people engaged in lifelong learning. We have to build a system that supports individuals in order to get engaged with lifelong learning and micro-credentials. For instance, a system that will support parents in their free time to find some time to engage with lifelong learning. In the next slide, just to briefly present you some of the strengths and weaknesses in a nutshell. If you click on it, it's an animated slide. Yes, and the strengths, the weaknesses, there is a great uncertainty on the benefits of micro-credentials as a weakness, apart from the confusion around the name of micro-credentials. But of course, a lot of strengths that I have already mentioned, the potential for upskilling, reskilling, the cooperation between providers and employers, the flexibility that micro-credentials are offering. So in the next slide, what I would like to highlight is that it's crucial to create an ecosystem. Anyway, the vision is to create an ecosystem. Which ecosystem will bring together the different providers, the learners, the stakeholders from the labor market to develop micro-credentials that can help learners be useful for learning. Here you can see the different links that you can visit in our website if you want to find more information on the different projects that I have presented to you. Thanks a lot for your attention and for inviting Cedefop to participate in your event. I don't know if you can switch on the mic of the audio from your side so I can hear you.
By the way, Iraklis, happy anniversary. I don't know if you can't hear us. No, you can't. Well, we wish you a happy anniversary. 50 years is a long time for an institution. So we're very happy that you reached that amount of years, and so we wish you 50 more years of good job. Okay, can you see the graphic representation? No. Yes? Okay. I wasn't looking, sorry. This is an awkward.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay. Hello? So, yeah, there's a bit of an echo. I was just saying that we wish you a very happy anniversary. Yes, shall we clap? Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.